She gave them one night. What happened next left the whole town in tears. It was the kind of December night that bites through coats and settles deep into your bones. Snow fell in thick, silent waves over the small town of Cedar Ridge, population just under 5,000, where strangers rarely passed through and neighbors knew each other by name. On the edge of town, in a modest brick house with golden light spilling from the windows, 58-year-old Evelyn Carter was wrapping up her evening. A retired schoolteacher, Evelyn lived alone since her husband passed, her children long grown and scattered across the country. She kept her home warm, her heart warmer. That's when she saw them. Outside her front gate stood a man in a leather vest, frayed at the seams, a woman clutching a shivering toddler, and a boy no older than 10, his teeth chattering beneath a thin hoodie. The man's jacket read, "Hell's Angels, Nomad," across the back, but his eyes held no threat, only exhaustion, fear, and shame. Evelyn didn't hesitate. "Y'all come in out of that cold," she said, stepping onto the porch in her slippers. "I don't care who you are. No child should freeze on my watch." The woman burst into tears. Their motorcycle had broken down miles back. Every motel was full. They'd walked for hours, hoping just to find a garage to sleep in. Evelyn ushered them inside, turned up the heat, made hot cocoa, and laid out extra blankets. She gave the kids her own bed, slept on the couch. She didn't ask questions, didn't judge, just offered warmth, like someone once offered her kindness during her darkest hour. By morning, the family was reluctant to leave. The biker, his name was Marcus, tried to hand her cash. Evelyn shook her head. "You keep that for your babies," she said, "and remember, kindness is never wasted." They left with hugs, promises to pay it forward, and tears in their eyes. Evelyn thought that was the end of it, but 3 days later, just after dawn, the rumble began. Low at first, like distant thunder, then louder, closer. She peered through her curtains and froze. Dozens of motorcycles lined her street, not just dozens, over 50. Leather jackets, patches, scowls that could melt steel. Her heart pounded. She gripped the doorknob, ready to call the police. Then the leader stepped forward. It was Marcus. Behind him, his brothers and sisters of the Hells Angels Cedar Ridge Charter dismounted, not with weapons, but with tools, paint cans, lumber, shovels. "We heard you've been fixing this porch yourself, and your roof's leaking. Your furnace is on its last leg." Evelyn stared, speechless. "This is our way of saying thank you. You didn't see monsters, you saw people. You gave my family dignity when we had none." For the next week, the most feared motorcycle club in the state transformed Evelyn's home. They repaired her roof, rebuilt her porch, insulated her walls, and installed a new heating system. They swept her driveway, shoveled her walkways, and even planted spring bulbs in her garden for when the snow melted. Neighbors watched in disbelief. Some took pictures. Others brought coffee and sandwiches, their prejudice melting faster than the ice on the streets. By the time they left, Evelyn's house wasn't just warmer, it was gleaming. But they didn't stop there. A month later, Evelyn received a letter. A local family, fallen on hard times after a factory closure, had suddenly received rent assistance, anonymous but signed with a simple symbol, a winged skull inside a heart. Then a scholarship in her name was established for underprivileged students at the local high school, funded entirely by community donors. Evelyn never asked for any on it, but she knew. Years later, on her 65th birthday, a convoy of bikes rolled into Cedar Ridge once again, not for repairs, but for celebration. The whole town gathered. The mayor gave a speech. Children hugged Evelyn like she was their grandmother, which in a way she was. That single act of compassion, a black woman opening her door to a biker family on a freezing night, ignited a chain reaction of generosity that reshaped an entire community. Because kindness, real kindness, doesn't whisper, it echoes. And sometimes it rides in on a motorcycle. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more stories of hope, humanity, and second chances to millions around the world. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? And have you ever received unexpected kindness when you needed it most? Because in a world that often feels divided, stories like Evelyn's remind us compassion knows no color, creed, or club patch. It only knows the human soul. Thanks for watching.